Hi, readers. It's Lori. Maybe during Nonfiction November, you're not sure about what kinds of books you want to read. So I'm bringing forward some of my favorites from the past, one of them way back in the past. So let's get started. So today, it's not so much about reading these specific books, although you certainly could. But what I wanted to bring forward today is sort of a variety of opportunities that you could choose during Nonfiction November. I have not read as much nonfiction in my lifetime, as I've mentioned before, as I have fiction, but I really enjoyed some of these titles. And it got me thinking about maybe the categories or sort of the tone of some nonfiction that might interest you. So, this one I read when I was a young person. It was published in 1973. You can probably tell by the aging of this, what was probably once a white cover. But this remains one of my favorite nonfiction books. It is indeed about a duck, a mallard drake, and how Mel Ellis came into understanding and knowing this duck and what he and his family did and what they experienced as a result of their friendship with Pete. And it's just so gorgeous. Obviously, Pete has a bit of a disability. And so they take him in and they care for him and learn more about him. And it's just so sweet. And I really do recommend it. I looked to see if it was on Goodreads, which then kind of would indicate whether it's still in print somewhere. I think it still is. Some people have read it as recently as a year ago. So it is still circulating around. But also, my point is, there's a couple of things here. You could read books about wildlife, which I think is very fun and engaging. You could also look at your parents' shelves or your shelves from childhood and see if there's any nonfiction you didn't read or you might want to reread during Nonfiction November. So there's lots of options here that come forward with Peg Leg Pete. And there are lots of nonfiction authors that are really great at writing about wildlife and fisheries and different aspects of our other partners in the world. In terms of memoirs that are light and that are maybe about people that are famous that you're aware of, Lauren Graham's memoir, Talking as Fast as I Can, was really an easy and fun read for me. She does talk about her childhood to some degree, and she talks about her rise into fame. My interest in reading this was because and my family is a great fan of Gilmore Girls. Well, not all of my family is a great fan of Gilmore Girls, but I did want to read this when it first came out. I got it for Christmas that year because I was so excited about it. And it is very, very good. It does go into her time on, what's the name, Parenthood, which I actually never watched. So I think she feels like Parenthood was that turning point for her in terms of her career, as I recall. But for me, Gilmore Girls will always remain my favorite. But she is a very happy person generally, and she does talk about her relationships and her life, and just generally, it was a lot of fun and pretty light. Now, maybe a memoir about something that wasn't as light is a book called Leaving the Saints by Martha Beck. Now, there's a couple reasons I'm bringing this one forward. It is also a memoir, but it is a memoir about someone that you might not know. Most sort of at the center of this book is about her relationship with the Mormon Church. Now, I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong with the Mormon Church at all. I think everyone deserves and should follow whatever spiritual path works for them. But in her particular case, there was some fraud and abuse that was happening within the church. And she was a victim of some things that were very dark and sinister. And how she ended up discovering that was that she had some repressed memories that came forward suddenly one day. And she was just sort of blindsided by that. I really remember feeling compelled by this entire story of her experiences, but also I didn't know a lot about the Mormon faith at that time. So it did give me a grounding in that religious doctrine and the ways of the Mormon church. I have friends who are Mormons, and I know a little bit about their experiences. I also know that a lot of things have changed, especially since this was published. I'm sure things have changed significantly within the church. This one is copyrighted 2005, so it's definitely an older book. What I bring this forward for is that I also love memoirs about people's experiences in life, whether that be their spiritual experience, whether that be their experience growing up in difficult situations. I think memoirs that people are able to kind of bring forward something that happened that was that significantly sort of life changing is a memoir that I really enjoy. And then the last one is kind of timely for this time of year, and that is A Merry, Merry Victorian Christmas. So I bring this forward because there are a lot of nonfiction works that just give you kind of a framework around something specific that is either celebrated or honored in our country. It could be, as this one is, some history into the Victorian age. It could be some sort of information about something that we know is existing and happening around us, but we don't know the origins of it. And so there's lots of ways in which this kind of nonfiction book can give you some sort of data and experience and fun learning about a specific topic that maybe is way beyond the years that you've lived in your life. So this one has recipes, it has references to books that were published around that time, songs, traditions, obviously, Christmas traditions that have happened over the years. And it's really fun and easy to read. I have another one that is similar to this that I plan to get to in December of this year. But Janet Emily Demarest is the author of this, and she really compiles a pretty detailed synopsis of this time, this age, and how Christmas traditions were born. So those are the ones that I have for you so far. I may do a couple more videos that talk about these this month, but I just love the energy that's around this Nonfiction November month and read along. I've been watching a Book Olive's books featured on TikTok and just kind of noticing her on the social media pages and platforms. And it just inspires me to realize how much nonfiction is out there and how eclectic it is. I mean, really, there are people that are writing about the most compelling and intriguing topics. So if you haven't dipped your toes into the Nonfiction November framework, even if you're not reading any nonfiction in November, it might be fun just to take a look at some of these titles because they're really fascinating. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for all your support, your comments, and let me know what you're reading in Nonfiction November if you are participating. Again, I'm always curious and I'm always looking for more titles that might be fun as well. Take good care and happy reading. Bye.